evening, everyone. Welcome. This is by far the largest crowd that we've had, at least in my 10 months of office. It's great to see this many people here. Welcome. It's always great to have people here. We very much appreciate everybody being here. So I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order here on November 9th, 2021, and ask our city clerk to please call roll.
Commissioner Galt?
Present.
Commissioner Guess?
Present.
Commissioner Henderson?
Present.
Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Bray?
Present. And I'll ask Commissioner Galt to say the invocation, and we'll remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow with me, please. Father God, we come before you tonight to thank you for our many blessings and to give thanks for the ability to assemble. We come together to continue the work of improving our city. We pray for discernment and peace as we do business on behalf of our community. We ask that your hand lead and guide us in these decisions. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, City Manager, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mayor, there are none tonight.
Okay, great. Okay, the first order of business I have tonight is a presentation I want to make. One of the things that I have the privilege of doing as mayor is making awards at times when I find people in the community that are doing good things, positive things, things that make a difference in our community. And so tonight, I'm going to present a Paducah Award to Mr. Terry Jones. I got to talk about you a little bit first. So, for those of you who don't know, Terry is a master barber at Jonestown Barber Style Shop, and he's been a barber for 40 years. He has been described as an artist with clippers. He's provided free haircuts to students. He actually goes to the school to provide those haircuts. Plus, he provides free haircuts to the elderly. He feels that it is his calling to freely give of his time and his skills, so this is his calling. In December 2019, you may have seen WPSD did a story about him and the free haircuts that he was providing to the McNabb students. And so I'll just read this Duke Award. It says, to all to whom this presents shall come, Terry B. Jones, in the name of Paducah, I hereby confer this honor with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. In testimony thereof, I have caused these letters to be patent and seal of the city to be hereunto affixed. Done at Paducah, the 9th day of November, in the year of our Lord, 2021. Congratulations. Okay, Mary Hammond is here with representing the Civic Beautification Board and bestowing annual business awards.
Yes,
Mary?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce the chair of the Paducah Civic Beautification Board, Jackie Smith, and she'll be helping with the awards. And the other members of Paducah Civic Beautification Board, put your hands up. I know you're here. All right. I got to make it quick. Each year, Paducah Civic Beautification Board honors business owners who have invested beyond the fiscal side, businesses that have taken their investment outside the physical plant, and we're appreciative. These buildings outwardly reflect the owner's commitment to Paducah, part of their contribution to our tangible cultural heritage, the built heritage that goes hand in hand with the intangible cultural heritage acknowledged by UNESCO Creative Cities to define our identity as a city. Let us celebrate these 10 businesses that contribute to the culture of a beautiful Paducah. Where's Paul? Okay, let's see where we're starting here. Williams Park, 3100 Technology Drive. Somebody here? We were expecting them. Okay, well, if you haven't been out by CSI, please go out here, named for John and Vivian Williams. Please stop by. I think during COVID, we've really taken advantage of that nice open space. Here we go. Lucasa, am I saying that correct? Lucasa, 3025 Clay Street. Casey Adams. Come on now. I confirm these. Okay, if you haven't been by here, what they've done with this empty building to make homes like a resident home for those who cannot live without supervision. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Okay. I know they're here. Okay, here we go with FNB Bank at 130 Lone Oak, and here we go. Come on up. Pam, I was counting on you. Who's got their camera? Come on. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, boy, can tell I had a busy day? Okay, here we go.
You're doing good, Mary.
Yeah. Taylor, Leopard. Yeah, I talked to Taylor today. Come on. Taylor, do people still think it starts at 5:30? I know. Taylor, come on up here.
Just in time, Taylor.
Taylor has taken the building across from Midtown Market, and you may have seen it, Third Moon Tattoo, and you've done incredible things with that building. Thank you. Although Paul had a hard time taking photos around the cobwebs at Halloween. All right, I got my fingers crossed here. The House of Ross Coffee Bar, 227 North 13th. Is George here? I didn't call. George isn't here. Okay. This is a building that I watched for a long time that was just walls, didn't even have a roof. I watched it get painted. I watched him add things to it. And this is a building that's been in the Ross family for a couple of generations. And George has made a coffee bar out of it. And he doesn't have a sign up yet, but it's good to see good things happening on that corner. I know they're here too. Grumley, Riley, and Stewart at 1634 Broadway. And yes, I know, related to Paul Grumley, a member of Civic Beautification Board. Paul took these wonderful photos. And thank you, Paul. Oh, and who else would have a pink door? Erin Henley with face makeup. Here she comes. What a beautiful dream come true at 21st and Broadway. Also a good place to get presents in the coming 2 months. So there you go. And the Budenbaum House. One of the oldest buildings in Paducah, and what fun it's been watching it be restored more authentically than ever, with First Presbyterian Church taking the lead on that.
Oh, wow.
Yes. There's ours. I hope they're here. I talked to them too. Yes. The next building is one that's close to our heart, Broussard's Cajun Cuisine, and of course our beloved Whaler's Catch, and how sad we were when it was empty for a long time. And Jason Coulter, and he does live in Cape, and I did expect him today, but it doesn't look like Jason made it, but he does deserve a round of applause. And I ask you to look at that building from the Quilt Museum side and get a whole new view. It was like, that's downtown Paducah, and how beautiful it looks. So I encourage you to see. All right, Divine Design Center, 600 South 3rd. There we go. Yes, Carol, brought your team. Carol and Macy and Cameron. Darlene, did they all come? Yeah. Carol has taken a building that's been there for a long time, but you certainly wouldn't know it the way it's looking so good and pretty as you enter our city from the south side. Is that it? That's it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is this working?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. And just a couple of comments I want to make. First of all, I just want to, Jackie, Mary, and all the representatives of the Civic Beautification Board, thank you for being here, and thank you for all the work that you do. This group of ladies has toiled for, I'm not sure how many years, many, 50 years in our community, has made it better by giving positive reinforcement to people who keep their homes fixed up and now their businesses. So you do great work for the community, and thank you very much. Okay, the crowd's starting to dwindle a little. I don't know whether to be upset about people getting their awards and taking off and they don't want to see the rest of it, or so now we have some new employee introductions, and I'll call up Chief Brian Laird.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission, City Manager, City Clerk. Excited to introduce two more police officers to you. Over the past couple of months, we've brought several in front of you. Tonight we have Austin Gruner. He's 27 years old, originally from Louisville, where he went to high school. Went to Murray State, obtained his bachelor's degree, and applied with us, and he's going to work for us as a police officer. Next we have Caleb Kindred. He's 21 years old, graduated from McCracken County High School, also graduated from West Kentucky Tech, and then Murray State. So we're excited to have both of them on board with us. We also have two others that were introduced to you last time, and we've got Circuit Judge Tony Kitchen here to do their swearing in.
Okay, great. Welcome, Judge Kitchen.
If you guys want to step on that side, the judge sit there. Good, Judge, if you want to come over to this side. On this side, okay. Over for you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to have you repeat after me, and I'm going to say, state your name. Please don't say the words, state your name. Would you raise your right hands, please? And repeat after me. I state your name. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support. The Constitution of the United States.
Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of this Commonwealth.
And the Constitution of this Commonwealth.
And be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
And be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
So long as I continue a citizen thereof.
So long as I continue a citizen thereof.
And that I will endeavor.
I will endeavor.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
To detect and prosecute all gamblers.
To detect and prosecute all gamblers.
And others violating the laws against gaming.
And others violating the laws against gaming.
And that I will faithfully execute.
And I will faithfully execute.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
The office of police officer.
The office of police officer.
For the Paducah Police Department.
For the Paducah Police Department.
According to law.
According to law.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office.
And I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office.
And I do further solemnly swear or affirm.
and I do further solemnly swear and affirm
that since the adoption of the present Constitution,
that since the adoption of the present Constitution,
I, being a citizen of this state,
I, being a citizen of this state,
have not fought a duel with deadly weapons
have not fought a duel with deadly weapons
within this state nor out of it,
within this state nor out of it,
nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel
nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to duel
with deadly weapons,
with deadly weapons,
nor have I acted a second
nor have I acted a second
in carrying a challenge,
in carrying a challenge,
nor aided nor assisted any person thus offending.
nor aided or assisted any person thus offended.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, welcome aboard. Mayor, that wasn't as long or as difficult as the Duke of Paducah Award.
You got me there, Brian.
Thank you, Chief.
Sorry I took most of the crowd.
Oh, my God.
They're going to go watch a ball game, I believe, tonight.
Congratulations to our new police officers.
Bye-bye.
And Mayor, I'm glad you got to see me today.
I'm glad I got to see you too.
I can't think of his name, but glad you got to see me.
Thanks for being here, everybody. Okay, before we move to the consent agenda, I wanted, this is a point which I kind of just, if I've got anything I'd like to talk about a little bit, I want to get this out in front of people, and it's not really public knowledge yet, but you know, in our community, I think I've spoken about this before, but we are in the process of conducting a study on our homeless issue that we have in the community. But it's going to take a while to do that. In fact, it's probably going to take 4 to 5 months. We'll get the study back in the spring, and then we'll have to decide, you know, exactly how we're going to act upon whatever we determine to be a go-forward plan. In the meantime, winter is here, and we have homeless on our streets that don't have a place to stay. And so we have been looking, a group that I'm a part of, has been looking for a temporary solution as a warming center and a place for our folks to stay when the temperature gets below a certain point. And we've been scouring the community for some time, looking for someone who would step up and, you know, and make a commitment to this. And I'm happy to announce that Washington Street Baptist Church, under the leadership of our own Commissioner Ray Henderson, has stepped up and will provide those services for this winter. And I just want to call that out because it's a good example of an organization, a church, an organization that one of our commissioners leads, stepping up and making a difference in our community, committing to those who need our assistance, our support, our attention. And I just personally wanted to thank you for your leadership. And I don't know if you want to say anything about it.
We're just excited and proud to have the opportunity to make this kind of impact on our community. We believe that this is what the church is supposed to do. It's not just about coming on Sunday and hearing a sermon, but it's about going out Sunday evening and living that sermon out. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Well, I'm sure I said something to Commissioner Henderson before the meeting. I'm sure that there are people and organizations in this community who would want to donate financially as well as their talents, to participate with you as we go forward. So we'll all do all our best to help you along the way. So,
Appreciate that.
So, Okay, we're going to move to the consent agenda, and items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. The city clerk will read the items recommended for approval. There is one item that I would like to take off and talk about, and that is item C, the appointment for the new 911 Communication Services Oversight Committee. So I would like to request that that one be taken off. Are there, would any other commissioner like an item removed for separate discussion?
No.
We're good? Okay. So I'll then ask the city clerk to please read the items recommended for approval.
Approve minutes for the October 26, 2021 Paducah Board of Commissioners meeting. Receive and file documents. Appointment of Joshua Tyler Parker to the Brooks Stadium Commission to replace Neil Carroll, who resigned. Said term shall expire December 31st, 2023. Appointment of Buzz Von Tesmer to the Municipal Housing Commission to replace John Shadle, whose term has expired. Said term shall expire July 22nd, 2025. Appointment of Erna Boykin to the Board of Adjustment to replace Alberta Davis, whose term has expired. Said term shall expire August 31st, 2025. Personnel actions, a municipal order ratifying the mayor's execution of a 2022 Kentucky Litter Abatement Grant application to the Kentucky Division of Waste Management for the Public Works Department's Street Litter Abatement Program, accepting all awarded grant funds and authorizing the mayor to execute all award documents. A municipal order accepting the bid for sale to the city of one half-ton pickup 4x4 SSV in the amount of $46,755 for use by the fire department and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for same. A municipal order authorizing the application for an EPA brownfield assessment grant in the amount of $500,000 to support environmental planning and assessments of targeted brownfield sites in and around the south side and gateway regions of Paducah.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Guess?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. Okay, you want to then read the item on the agenda about the 911, please?
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to approve an appointment for Carol Galt, Kevin Caufield, and joint appointment of Jewel Jones to the 911 Communication Services Oversight Committee.
Thank you, City Clerk. So I just wanted to call that out and talk about it a little bit. This is, the judge has decided on his two appointments for the 911 Oversight Committee, and we agreed jointly that Jewel Jones would be the joint appointment for the committee. And then in addition to our own Commissioner Carol Galt, who's got the most experience with 911 in the past, I've asked Kevin Caufield, who is the area president for Independence Bank and has been looking for a way to get back and provide some guidance for one of our boards or committees, and I called him and he agreed to do it. So the first thing that we'll do here in the next couple of weeks is we'll, once the appointments are made, we'll set up an initial meeting for all of us, the judge and I, along with the committee, and we'll begin to talk about next steps and how we're going to proceed with 911. So it's a big thing. It's a complicated thing. We've gotten a study that has been returned by federal engineering. The committee will certainly have to work with Chief Laird and Chief Kyle, and get up to snuff on what's been going on in the past, and then we'll have to set a path forward. Part of that path forward will be determining funding. Determining, first of all, how much money do we need to spend to upgrade our system? What's the timeline that we want to spend it, and how are we going to pay for it? And so it's a very important committee. Thank you, Commissioner Galt, for agreeing to serve. I know you do a great job, and
you got your work cut out for us. It's going to take us some time. But we got to get started. So, any thoughts or questions or comments from anybody?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate the appointment. Thank you.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Guess,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye. You don't have to abstain from voting for yourself or a
No.
committee? I'm kidding. I don't know.
Well, I had a little self-confidence in this one. How about that?
She was voting for the others.
There you go.
Okay, at this point, we move to the adoption of ordinances. These are ordinances that we've already read the first time. We've had some discussion. I know we've got folks here Rick Murphy's here to talk. If we got any additional questions, but I'd ask the city clerk to please read the first one.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to execute contract modification number 2 with Pace Contracting LLC to increase the contract by $405,536.35 for Pump Station Number 2 Rehabilitation Project. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The mayor is hereby authorized to execute contract modification number 2 with Pace Contracting LLC for an increase in the amount of $405,536.35 and a new total contract cost of $5,027,269.64 for unforeseen work that is needed, including an MH23 actuator and stem replacement, overhead crane repair, electrical investigation and repair, and geotechnical and soil issues. This expenditure shall be charged to the Pump Station Number 2 project account FW0014.
So moved.
Second.
Does anybody have any questions, or has everybody got a good understanding of where we're going with this? Okay, I think you can call roll.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Guess,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye. Okay, and we've got two alley street closings to decide on.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance providing for the closing of Vermont Street extending southeast of 321 and 322 Vermont Street between 1401 Elmdale Road and 500 Ridgewood Street, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The City of Paducah does hereby authorize the closing of Vermont Street extending southeast of 321 and 322 Vermont Street between 1401 Elmdale Road and 500 Ridgewood Street, and authorizes, empowers, and directs the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed from the City of Paducah to the property owner in or abutting the public way to be closed.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Everybody good here?
Do we know exactly, as we close these alleys, do we know exactly what this organization is going to be doing? I don't know if I read that.
To build a church.
Oh, that just to build the church? Okay,
That's going to be their new church campus.
I got you. Okay.
We
I knew
good?
it was a church, I just didn't know if they were just expanding or what.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Guess,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance providing for the closing of an alley extending southeast of Executive Boulevard between 501 North 3rd Street and 514 and 520 North Loop Road, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The City of Paducah does hereby authorize the closing of an alley extending southeast of Executive Boulevard between 501 North 3rd Street and 514 and 520 North Loop Road, and authorizes, empowers, and directs the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed from the City of Paducah to the property owner in or abutting the public way to be closed.
So moved.
Second.
Questions about this one? Rick explained it 2 weeks ago, so I'm good.
Yep.
You can call roll.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Guess,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye. Okay, now we're going to move to the introduction of new ordinances, and I'm anxious for everybody to learn about this first one. And we have representatives from Bacon Farmer Workman here to talk about it. Why don't you want to read it first, and then we'll let Rick talk about it.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, authorizing and approving a professional services agreement between the City of Paducah and BFW Engineering and Testing Incorporated for pavement inspection services for city streets utilizing the PAVER program in the amount of $49,751.82 per year for 2 years, with 3 optional 1-year extensions, and authorizing the mayor to execute said agreement. This ordinance is summarized as follows: that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute contract with BFW for a 2-year contract in the amount of $49,751.82 per year, with the option of 3 1-year renewals at the discretion of the city engineer for a total not to exceed contract amount of $248,759.10. This expenditure shall be charged to the MAP Program Street Resurfacing and Rehabilitation Account 2300-2217-542270.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Commission, I wish I could talk as fast as Lindsay can read, but I can't. You recall back some time ago during one of our commission meetings, you all were having questions about when might the city be paving our streets? You know, could you give us a date on that, or, you know, a reasonable date on that?
Yeah, trying to hold your feet to the fire.
Yeah. And so, you know, I basically commented, in order to do this, we have to have data and a lot of, you know, input on that. We didn't have the resources for that, but it's something that we can research and get those resources. So we do have the PAVER program, Commissioner Wilson, that we talked about, but any software program needs to be fed. It needs to be fed data, and we don't have those resources to do it, but we have those resources available to us locally, and that's why I have representatives here from BFW, Megan Mansfield and Stephanie Sharp, of whom, you know, this is their baby. Megan, you recall, used to work here at the city, and this was going to be her baby, but she left and sought other employment opportunities, but she circled back. So with that being said, they have a little presentation to help you all better understand what this program does, and then how we may be able to provide information to the citizens in the future.
Great. Thanks, Rick. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. As Rick mentioned, I'm a project manager at BFW, and I'm a little sad that the crowd didn't want to stick around for some pavement management, but I guess I can understand. Let's see, Lindsay, do I just click? There we go. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an overview regarding PAVER and what you guys currently have in place. PAVER is a software developed by Colorado State University, and it was originally for the Department of Defense. So they needed to track their airfields and airports. As you can imagine, pavement at airports is really expensive. So today we are seeing it used across cities, public and private entities. We have City of Louisville, City of Owensboro, all pushing PCI ratings, which is Pavement Condition Index rating system. So to give you guys an overview, in 2018, whenever I was here, Rick and I spent a lot of time talking about the pavement in Paducah and how we can improve it with a more optimized system. So currently, as a result of that 2018 data, we have about 40% of the streets that are in good to satisfactory condition. The rest are below satisfactory condition or good condition. And what we are trying to do in 2021 is to relaunch some of those inspections to keep up with that data. So if you can imagine, the inspection data is 3 years old now. The recommendation is to update the system every 3 to 5 years. So that's what we're proposing to do, is to launch 20% of the street inspections annually over the course of 5 years to update the system. So this is just a general overview. I know it's hard to see, but I still wanted to include it. So this is what your PAVER database looks like on our computers and here at the city as well. Each street polygon, usually by block, is colored green to gray, depending on the PCI rating that we gave it in 2018. So all of this data needs to be updated for new roads, road closures. Your parking lots are on here as well. So there's over 25 parking lots that we keep an eye on for you. And then just basically making sure that the pavement hasn't significantly deteriorated, and, you know, some of those hidden projects that are out there that we can see better from this system. So I'm going to touch briefly on the importance of PAVER and the PCI data that you all have as a part of the City of Paducah. without the PCI ratings, which again, PAVER is just the software that houses the ratings that we assign it. It's really an inventory and cost modeling tool. Without that PAVER program, we see reactive repair cycles. So if you and I are out driving the street and it's very hard to drive in our cars, you might call that street in. At that point, the repair method is usually very widespread and expensive for you. So what we like to do is to monitor the pavement on the good to satisfactory condition level, institute some localized repair options. So maybe we have one crack out there that's introducing a lot of drainage infiltration underneath that pavement system. Well, if you don't notice that, and you and I wouldn't whenever we drive across it at that point, in 2 to 3 years from now, that pavement will be significantly deteriorated to where you're using more expensive repair alternatives to fix it. If we would have caught it in these inspections, then we would have repaired that crack and extended the life of the pavement significantly. So that's what the PAVER-based program allows us to see. It's on order $1 a square foot to $5 a square foot in the cost savings. So that's important to remember. That is research backed for all people who use the PCI rating system, or organizations, I should say. So PAVER also allows us to provide a better budget planning tool. So the cause and effect, we can forecast what happens on a street if we don't do any repairs for 2 years. We can see that cost that we incur as a result of that decision, or the lack of cost. And maybe that gives us a good indication to shelf it or perform the repairs accordingly. So the City of Paducah's program plan as of 2021, so what we're proposing to you, is that we're going to perform the inspections, as I mentioned, 20% of the streets each year. And Rick and I have spent some time going over what the organization of that data looks like. We're going to hit some failed streets, but we're also going to hit some pavement that's in good to satisfactory condition so that we can recognize some of these localized repair alternatives and extend the life of that pavement on a much lower order of magnitude than some of our street rehabilitation projects. So upon completion of that inspection data, which those inspections will be done on foot, for right now, we also have mapping tools such as LiDAR that we can use eventually, and we are looking at instituting some of that to speed it up. But right now, the most accurate method of data collection is by foot, you and I out there looking at the pavement, measuring over 20 different distress types. So it's a very detailed procedure, but it's a valid one, and that's what we're sticking with for now. So whenever we get those inspections complete, the connection phase of the program, so we're going to put those in PAVER. PAVER is compatible with GIS, so what you will see is the map that I showed you earlier, either on your website or mapping, hard copies that you can distribute for public engagement. So it just gives you distribution tools and an ability to look at it however you see fit. So from there, we're going to be involved on the selection side. So as a part of the pavement management program, there's a lot that goes into selecting a street for street rehabilitation. There's utility coordination, for example. We don't want to select a street where Paducah Water might come in 2 years later and tear it all out to replace a pipe. We would like to coordinate those projects so that we optimize the budget and it can extend the life of the pavement. So we're trying to make sure that the dollars are wisely used as much as possible. So Stephanie's going to give you a little bit of an overview as far as what an inspection looks like on your street.
Thank you, Commissioner and Mayor. I'm Stephanie Sharp. I'm a staff engineer with BFW. And as Megan mentioned, I'm going to go through a brief inspection, kind of just walk you through it and just kind of explain how we do an inspection. So as Megan mentioned, back in 2018, the city set up the database for the City of Paducah. And essentially that database is all-encompassing of the entire city's network of streets and parking lots, and from there we take those streets and parking lots and break them down into smaller sections so that we can sample and inspect them. During our inspections, we are out in the field looking at the roadways, and we run through a list of 20 different distress types that are dictated by an ASTM standard. Those distress types include alligator cracking, rutting, swelling, potholes, utility patching, things like that you see in the roadway. You may feel under your car. We look for those, and within the PAVER database, we have a dashboard where we rate those distresses, low, medium, high. We input information about them, and essentially it spits us out a number that we can rate on a scale. And it essentially, the PAVER software creates a weather map, if you will, for us that very easily displays the good areas, the bad areas, so we can quickly see anything in the red obviously needs some immediate attention. Anything green is in good condition, but it should be monitored over the period of time to make sure we don't slip into that yellow and red area.
So with that being said, we want to leave you with the three main positives that come out of this program. One is the cost. We see, although it's an expense on the front end, it's marginal compared to the cost savings that you will see on the long-term scale where it's proven the 5-to-1, as I mentioned earlier. Also, the timing, the database is real time. So as you add streets due to economic development or you take away streets due to the road closures, we update that system and then we give that shapefile to the city engineering department and let them update GIS accordingly with the PAVER information. So it's a living, breathing document that we're regularly updating on your behalf. And then the decreased bias in decision making. So this puts objective numbers, objective data behind every decision made regarding street rehabilitation projects. So I like to give the analogy of if I'm driving an SUV or even a semi and somebody else is driving a motorcycle, our definition of a bad street is going to be widely different. And so this allows us to take that data, take those considerations out of it, look at it from a very objective point of view and make those decisions accordingly. So with that being said, I'll open it up to questions. I know that was very quick, but we wanted to speed up, so.
I get it.
I think it's a great system, and I really appreciate the more information.
All right, I have questions.
Sure.
So you said in 2018, you did 60%?
No, so 2018, we did 100% of the streets. So we got the original initial database. 60% of those streets could see significant repair alternatives. So 40% were in the yellow to green area. And that's based on 2018 data. So as a part of this annual update, we'll be able to change those percentages. You all have done street projects since 2018 that need to get into the system.
So some of those red, some of those
will change to
have
green.
been, okay.
And those are the ones that I really want to keep an eye on because I can keep them green if I'm watching them closely and repairing on a small level.
So the other thing that, I was wondering about is the cost, and the priority. So you've got 60% of those streets in 2018 were in red. Some form of red. We've done some upgrades since then, so there's some that haven't been done. And, I'm wondering about the cost and the schedule of upgrading the rest of those original red in 2018, plus, I guess, anything else that's slipped over into red since 2018. How would we approach that?
So the PAVER system allows us to do some cost modeling. The city engineering department here is pretty thorough in their unit costs, the contracts as far as with Smith and Harper Construction that do the majority of that work. So we will be able to give the cost breakdown however you want to see it. So if you want to see the overall impact, which is similar to other cities, they just want to break down on a high level how much would it cost to get this city into the yellow and green category across the board. That number is going to be impressionable, but over time, if you make those projects a priority, which Rick already does, and I think you recently published some maps with the 1 to 2 year projection, because the reality is that in 2018, you all had plenty to work on in the red category. And so he's able to go ahead and plan with that. But as time goes on, this data ages. And so we will continue to update it and then hopefully get you all into a state to where we don't forget about repairing those quieter problems while we're doing rehab on the red streets to get them to green.
Yeah, I just think it's important to try to come up with dollar figures. I mean, especially as the commission goes through the budgeting process every year and is going to have to allocate some amount of money.
Absolutely.
And, try to understand, how much we're going to allocate, what percentage of the problem does that attack, so using this data or that in budget discussions, and I'm not sure if we'll be ready, after the first of the year when we get into those, but it sure would be nice.
We could do some of that based on the 2018 data for you even, just to give you an overview. One of the first things we'll do is update the system based on projects you've done and be able to give you those numbers just so you can look at them.
Yeah.
I think that's important because if you're in a neighborhood that's mostly red, well, mobilization-wise, you're going to want to attack that neighborhood all at once. So if you pick up a street and say you're out of budget, and you can incorporate that to get the whole neighborhood, that's key.
Well, and then our citizens want to know, if there's, they're going to ask us, when's this street going to be paved? And this allows us to give maybe not the answer they want, but a more intelligent answer.
And Mayor, we would like to use the tool, like the map you see here, where our community, our citizens can go on to our website and pull that map up, and if they see that their street where they're living is a green or a yellow, we're not going to be paving it in near future, because when we see all the reds and the value of the reds, they'll actually see literally where the bad streets are, and they said, well, we probably shouldn't ask because we're a green street and we got people over here that are red streets. So that's why we want to use the tool.
You wish they would react that way.
If they have a pothole, they can still call, right?
Our goal is that they call about numbers. The PCI number is something, and they could ask questions about it. So.
I think it's very innovative. It's a great program, and it helps us manage the city better and communicate with our citizens better. So
I like the maintenance side of it.
Yes.
Addressing this. Most people just see repaving. There's other things we can do, or you can do.
And Mayor, Commission, one question that's not been asked, we are actually using the paving dollars that you all give this. Since this is directly related to maintaining the streets, we're actually using out of the resurfacing dollars to fund this effort. Again, it's $49,000 a year, so it's well worth that.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, City Clerk, you want to read the next ordinance?
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, authorizing and approving the issuance of a City of Paducah, Kentucky general obligation refunding note, Series 2021A, in the aggregate principal amount equal to that percentage of the principal amount of the County of McCracken, Kentucky general obligation refunding bond, Series 2021A, which, bearing interest at the same rate or rates as the bonds, result in an aggregate annual payments of principal and interest on the note not exceeding $175,000 for each fiscal year during the term of the bonds, authorizing and approving an amended and restated interlocal cooperation agreement with the County of McCracken, Kentucky, approving the form of the note, authorizing designated officers to execute and deliver the note, and the amended and restated interlocal cooperation agreement, authorizing the levy of a direct annual tax on all taxable property within the city in addition to all other taxes in an amount sufficient to pay the principal of and interest on the note when and as the same becomes due, providing for the payment and security of the note, maintaining the heretofore established sinking fund, and replacing inconsistent ordinances. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance authorizes the issuance by the City of Paducah, Kentucky, of a general obligation refunding note designated as Series 2021A to the County of McCracken, Kentucky, in an aggregate principal amount equal to that percentage of the principal amount of the county's general obligation refunding bond, Series 2021A, which, bearing interest at the same rate or rates of interest as the county's bonds, results in aggregate annual payments of principal and interest on the note during each fiscal year of the city not exceeding $175,000. The note is to be issued to finance the city's proportionate share of the cost of refunding the outstanding County of McCracken, Kentucky General Obligation Bond, Series 2011, in advance of maturity to achieve debt service savings. The proceeds of the prior bonds were used to finance the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipping of an educational building and associated streets, parking lots, utilities, and infrastructure, which project has been and will be leased by the county to Murray State University, an agency and political subdivision of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, in connection with the provision by the University of post-secondary educational opportunities in the city and the county. The ordinance further authorizes an amended and restated interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and county, setting forth the respective obligations of the city and county with respect to the refinancing of the prior bonds. Provisions are made in the ordinance for the payment of the note and the security therefore, for the application of the proceeds of the note, for the maintenance of the heretofore established sinking fund, and for certain covenants of the city with respect to the note. The note is to have a final maturity date not later than December 1st, 2031, and shall bear interest payable semi-annually on June 1st and December 1st of each year, commencing June 1st, 2022, at the same interest rates as shall be established at an advertised competitive sale for the county's bonds. The note pledges the full faith and credit of the county, and provision is made for the collection of tax to pay the principal of and interest on the note, as required by KRS 83A.060, Section 9 of the ordinance shall be set forth in its entirety for publication.
So moved.
Second.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Clerk. In 2000, I'm going to try to summarize what she said in 50 words or less.
Good luck.
I think I can do it. In 2011, the city partnered with the county and Murray State University, and we borrowed $10 million. And with that money, they built the Murray State University Paducah campus off of I-24. Right now, the city, our prorated share of that outstanding bond issue is $1.5 million, and the market is right for us, we believe, to attempt to refinance it. Actually, the bond is owned by, or is obligated to, by the county, and we just agreed to 10 years ago to put in our share. And so, as Lindsay said, the bond will continue to mature in the year 2031, but we expect and hope to have at least a savings and interest of $120,000, hopefully more, over that period of time. And overall, all partners in this, the interest savings should be somewhere in the neighborhood of $455,000 over a 10-year period. Currently, the interest rate is 3.2. We anticipate that the interest rate will be 1.5, hopefully less. We'll see. It depends on what the market does for us. And in a nutshell, it's going to save us money. The money that you let Rick spend on doing all this cool street stuff, we're going to save that money so we can pay for that. And with having said all that, Mark Rawlings with Baird is here. He's our financial advisor on this. And last night he spent some quality time with the county doing the exact same thing that we're doing tonight. And so if you have any questions or comments, either from me or Mark, just now's a great time we'll try to answer it.
Tell us again how much we're going to save.
We think we're going to save approximately $120,000 over the next 10 years. Okay. The city will. You heard City Clerk say that we obligated ourselves to $175,000 a year. We've been paying that every year for the last 10 years. Hopefully it'll be something closer to $160,000 to $165,000 or less.
Is there upfront cost to renegotiate?
We have to pay for, of course, Mark's fee and then the legal counsel and other things. Mark could probably address this better than I could, but that gets rolled back into the bond issue that we're going to issue. And in spite of that, we still will have the savings that's been estimated.
I have a question. So is the amount that, I thought the county pays one amount annually and the city pays another amount annually?
Yes, and the university pays their own too.
Right.
Yes.
So have we been paying $175?
Yes.
And then, so the county pays?
I'm not sure what they pay, to be honest with you.
I thought, okay, they were.
They have essentially half of.
You want to come up to the mic?
Right, well, I mean, I was intimately involved in this project, so I remember that.
I do remember that.
And it's the whole reason why I even ran for city commission. But I just remember the county wanted to take the lead on it, and they were making a larger payment than we were.
Yes, and they're in for about half of the bond issue. So, you know, of the $450,000 in savings, they're going to get about $220,000 of it. The city will get about $120,000, and the university about $108,000 of the savings. So everyone is getting savings sort of proportionate to their participation in the original deal. Mm-hmm. We obviously, just because the county took the lead and issued the debt, they don't get all the savings. Everybody's going to be incented to do this. So we're trying to spread that around so that everybody is still participating at essentially the same percentages and then getting their savings.
Okay.
How was the original percentage determined, as to what the university paid, what we paid, and what county paid? Do you know?
Yeah, well, the county at the time wanted to take the lead, so they took a higher amount, but honestly, I thought they paid 175 and we were like 125 or 150, so I guess we're at 175 and they're at like 225, 250, something like that, and then is Murray State at 125?
108
Annually
I
or
can tell you,
something?
give me just 1 second, exactly what everyone's payments are.
We had visited Owensboro and saw what they were able to do at a certain amount and determined that we thought that the campus could be built for 10 million. Murray State had already bought the land and then divided it from there.
Okay.
The county's paying about $325,000 a year.
Okay.
The city is paying $175,000, and Murray State actually has the smallest participation. They're just a hair over $150,000.
Okay.
I was just kind of curious how the original, how it was divvied up originally, how, what was the thinking on it, but.
I don't recall the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was their intent at the time. The county judge wanted to take that lead and make this project happen. So
okay.
that was the intent.
I see. Okay.
That was,
Well, it sounds like we're making a good use, we're making good financial decisions, which is kind of, what we've done very well as a city, so sounds good. No other questions from me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you can go ahead and read the next ordinance.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a sanitary sewer easement between the City of Paducah, Kentucky and the Paducah-McCracken County Joint Sewer Agency for an area located at 1105 South 3rd Street, owned by the City of Paducah, in order to protect the sanitary sewer. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance authorizes the mayor to execute a sanitary sewer easement between the City of Paducah and the Paducah-McCracken County Joint Sewer Agency for and in consideration of $1 for an area located at 1105 South 3rd Street.
so moved.
Second.
Okay, so Nick's not here tonight, and Lindsay, you want to just tell us about this?
Yeah, so the city purchased this property back in 1955. This property is 1105 South 3rd Street. It's this property right here that we own. For reference, this is Ingram Barge, right across the street. We have not really done anything with this property, and the planning department is looking to list this as a surplus property. But we have there is a sanitary sewer line that runs through here. If I look at our map that shows our JSA lines, you can see it running right through here. This is an 8-inch sanitary sewer, and what they are looking to do is a 15-foot sanitary sewer easement that is centered on this line, so it'll run 15 foot around this line, and that will allow us to ensure that when the city lists it as a surplus property, there will never be anything built on top of the sewer. So it's basically there to protect it in the future and allow the city to sell this surplus property.
Is there enough room on that?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe enough room for a parking lot.
There is not enough room to, originally this is kind of for a shotgun house, so there is not enough room there to build anything on it. And I think the original purpose of why the city bought it was to protect the sewer, but to prevent anything from being built on it. But at this point, we want to, sell it and see if a neighbor would like to extend, and use that as their property.
I see. Is that a residence next door, do you know?
It is not, this right here, let me go to our map here. This right here, this is our property as well, so we would probably make this one whole parcel. We own this, and then this property is a commercial property that is not owned by the city.
Is that a parking lot, a shadow? What is?
That's a shadow of the building.
Yeah.
Do you know who that commercial property is by chance?
I kind of know where that.
Jim Shaw?
James Shaw.
Is it that beauty shop?
They used to do furniture upholstery in the back. They put an apartment.
Okay.
I think that's the.
So we got to do what we got to do, so I don't have any other questions.
Yeah.
So you can move to the next one.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Division 17, Paducah Creative and Cultural Council of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah to amend Section 2-582, Composition Appointment of Members. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance amends Section 2-582 of the Paducah Code of Ordinances. This amendment changes the composition of the Creative and Cultural Council to consist of 7 citizens and 2 members of city staff. Further, this amendment no longer defines staff members by specific title.
So moved.
Second.
Give us the cliff notes.
So, the Creative and Cultural Council was created in 2019 by city ordinance, and at that time, it was composed of 5 members that are citizen members, citizens of the city, and then 3 members of staff that were specifically designated by title. So we had the planning director, the neighborhood project planner, and the Paducah Grants Administrator. At the last meeting of the Creative and Cultural Council on October 20th, they made a recommendation to the City Commission to change that composition slightly. So it takes the board from 8 members to 9 members, so that if there was ever an issue with a tie, that would give them a tiebreaker vote. And then it takes it from 3 staff members to 2, and from 5 citizen members to 7. And it takes away the requirement that it be staff members of these specific titles. So they'll just be staff members appointed by the mayor. So that was their recommendation for a couple of reasons, to allow a little bit more flexibility and to give them a little bit more capacity to do more things by adding some additional citizen members to the board.
So that will mean that we'll need to find 2 more citizens to serve on the board?
Correct.
Okay. I noticed when I came into office that there was a lot of interest, originally anyway, on about that particular board, that council. There's a list of names of people who are interested. I think what's happened, it seems to me, since it was formed, and of course we've been in the middle of COVID, so that's been hard. Nobody's really been able to do anything, but they really have not been able to get their footing, and really figure out, what they want to accomplish. And I know you're helping them. They're working on a website, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'll just say this, I believe that council, that Creative and Cultural Council, to be very important to the community. We are a creative community. We embrace the arts, and so it's not their first. They have a job, they have family, they have other obligations. And a lot of times, serving on a board is, comes down the list of priorities. And so it's really easy for board members to kind of, and I'm not speaking of this board, but all boards, kind of lose their way. And so it's really important that the chairman of any board figure out how to rally the troops and keep people together and keep people focused. Leadership's important to this board, but and I think that we have at least an interim president, chairman. I don't know for how long, but we've got somebody that's interested, and I think it's important that the city support that chairman and really the whole board. That's just some of the things that in working with these boards, some of the things that I've experienced, since I started making appointments. So, does anybody else have any questions or thoughts about the Arts and Cultural Council.
I would just like to encourage them that I think it's very important that they work closely with Mary Hammond and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, who took the lead in making us the creative city and getting that designation. So I hope that they're working hand in hand with her.
I agree. And Mary's not on that board. So, yeah, that'd be good. So she'd be somebody, good for me to consult with, before making appointments, and also the chairman, try to get some input from. That's something that I always try to do is listen to what the chairman has to say. So Mary Katz is on that board. And, Mary is, very involved in the community with the Carson Center and been doing a great job, through COVID over there. That's really been challenging. So, having her involved is important, and really all the board members are important. So we just need to support them and help them succeed. So I'm good. No other thoughts or questions? So we're going to roll into an executive session here in a moment, but I want to make sure that, first of all, with the city manager, do you have any comments?
No, Mayor.
Really?
No.
No comments at all?
No.
Okay. How about the Board of Commissioners? None? Oh, wow. Okay, could I have a motion then to go in executive session?
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to go into closed session for discussion of matters pertaining to the following topics: future sale or acquisition of a specific parcel of real estate as permitted by KRS 61.8101B, proposed or pending litigation as permitted by KRS 61.8101C, a specific proposal by a business entity where public discussion of the subject matter would jeopardize the location, retention, expansion, or upgrading of a business entity as permitted by KRS 61.8101G.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Guess?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. To our guests, thank you very much for being here. Terry, congratulations again. Let me know if you'd like to serve on a board.
I thought you were going to ask for a haircut.